All right, guys. So we on Thursday I put up a video and I say that we are going to reverse our trades. The trades that we had taken on gold, we took gold from here, and we can see the market has started to reverse. So once the market has broken above this trend line and also broken above that psychological level. So I want to refine this trend line to this level, and we see a clear break above, and then we preferably would love to have a retest at that level, and then reversing the trades to the upside. So next week is ideology on gold is we want to see more of the buys than the sells next week on gold. So we said we are reversing the trades, and ideally this was the best time to take that trade, though it had no information. And if you took the reverse trade from here, I'd called it out and put stop loss right below this psychological level and the trend line, it would have given you potentially a little bit of drawdown, and then later on it has reversed. So when we call out trades, if I call out trades and say we're going to be reversing the trades or we are going to take such and such a trades, most of the times it may give you a drawdown for a short time, but in the long run, there's a picture that I would have seen that will give us a exact trade movement. So that's what we have on gold. We are still going to be looking for buys next week, and we will have something like this by next week. Maybe retest that psychological level, and we put stop loss below that trend line and psychological level. And we want to aim for these highs. But this level is also going to be significant. If the market rapidly moves to this level, then another decision is going to be made from here. What do I mean by another decision? Is we could either break above this trend line. So we could either break above and then come to retest that trend line before we buy, or we could reverse the trades off from that same level. So we could have a buy to zone and then reverse continue with the sells if the market touches on this trend line. So that's what we're going to be having on gold. Moving forward to Euro USD, a very, very smart trade over there. When we call it for a reversal, it was at this point, and then we put stop loss just below the psychological level and the trend line. And you can see this is the trend line that I talked about. I said the market had broken above this trend line, and it had to come back to test that trend line, but at a psychological level. So we can see psychological level is there, trend line has been retested, and then gives us candlestick reversal patterns. We take our trades and then put our stop loss below that level, and we want to aim for these highs. We could aim for the other highs, like the upward, but we want to target these highs first. If the market does not reverse from this level, we may also increase this to preferably 3. So if the market does not reverse from this level, which is going to give us the head and shoulder pattern, but and then we drop down again, then we will be looking for this high to be taken out before we could have a reversal on that trade. So that's what we're going to be having Euro USD. But in the big picture, we want to have more of the buys on Euro USD next week than we shall be having the sells, because it looks like the market has reversed and changed direction right now as we speak. AUDSD also doing almost the same thing. We called a reversal. The market had taken out this level, this low here, and then rejected that zone. So we want to see the trades around that level to go to the upside. The clean word is the market has also broken above the psychological level and the trend line over there. So this trend line has been broken and the psychological level has also been broken. So we could have a retest if the market is to drop a little anyways, it could come and feed into this trend line to give us the third touch on that trend line, which has been also holding the market from these lows. So this is the first touch, and the second touch is going to be this one, and then we could have a third touch before the market will rally to the upside. The move is not going to be really, we want to aim for this trend line. If the market is to reverse off of this trend line as the third touch again, then we want to see the market break above the trade to this trend line and then break this psychological level trend line again, and then maybe preferably retest it at this zone with the psychological level then we shall now be again taking ourselves from that level to go to the downside. So AUDSD still next week, we want to be looking at the buys more than we look at the sells. Moving forward to USD CHF. So USD CHF, our trade was supposed to give us about 100 pips, but this is about 70 pips that has been already granted to us. So also, if you are trading with a counter trendline break, so we could be taking out our stops at this level, giving us a little something like 1:2 risk to reward ratio. But it seems like the market has broken below this trend line, so it is a time for you to fear buy USD CHF unless it comes back, and this is an exceptional, unless it comes to this level and gives us a third touch on that trend line, and then we trade now the third touch bounce off instead. But the smaller counter trend line which I had put has been broken, and we would think it could be going into the sells, but it could also come and give us a third touch of that trend line, and then we take our buys off of that trend line as a bounce off from here, which is also going to give us a good delivery. If it can give us that and then it delivers to this trend line, so it's going to be very significant. I want to put this at 3 so that if it comes and delivers into this trend line, that's when we are going to say we want to now reverse to the downside on USD CHF. Remember, there's also this trend that was broken and has not yet been retested. So it is going to also do good for the market to come and feed on this trend line, retest it, and if possible, it can retest it at this level. If anything is for any reason, the market comes and coincides in this level, at this price level, this would be the best sell on USD CHF as in the best sell, because it has a lot of information. It has a trend line bounce off, it has a trend line retest, and it also has a psychological level in that presence. That means this will be, if for any reason the market dwindles around until it comes to this zone, then it will be very, very powerful level for the market to make a decision to go into the sells. But that would mean that the market has to break above this trend line we have said before it trades to this level. Of course, it's going to be a little bit tricky for it to break that level. But what happened? Who knows? It could happen. This market could come, okay, and then trade to this level, maybe reject it a little bit, and then trade back to that zone, and then we can have our sell coming in. And if that happens, guys, we would go in big on that trade to ensure that we sell USD at that level to give us a good trade over there. And then lastly, we look at GBP-USD. Also, the GBP-USD trade is already in. So we called the trade when the market was here. I said the market is rejecting the zone multiple times, and it's to be a point we could look at trades reversing off of. And you can see the market faked out a little bit. The market comes and fakes out and gives you a false break of support level, and then at the end of the day it reverses to the upside and gives us good trades over there. So GBP-USD also, we are into a buy on GBP-USD. So we want to see the market trade to at least this psychological level and this trend line, and then maybe give us a reversal trade from that point. Now, next week, what could happen is it could trade below and come through this psychological level before we push up, and then maybe preferably get a trade below here, or we could have the same trend coming in, and then this one pushes up instead, okay, pushes to the upside, and we also have a break. Or it could come and trade to this level and then come and retest to this trend line, giving us a third touch on this trend line, and then we push to the upside for GBP-USD. So whatever comes, we are ready for it. Let's just be on the watch, and also make sure you follow me on TikTok, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel, cashpips FX. That way I can be able to give us insights of how the market should be treated when it comes. So we expected this GBP-USD trade to continue to these lows, but it did not happen. So we must react. We do not just guess the market, we also react on what is happening according to the present price action. if the price action that we have as in present doesn't show that we're going to go into bearishness or bullishness, we have to react off of what is already presented to us. We are not market makers. We just react to what the market has already done before. So as again, it's Dennis Cash Pips again, and I hope you would have picked something from this video. And in case there's a currency pair you would love us to break down together, you can also comment that pair and then we could break it down together. So I sign out for now as Dennis Cash Pips.